live from the 2014 Mr. Olympia Expo at the Mutant booth. It's Big Ron Partlet with the Lab Report, back with another live episode, everyone at home watching. I got a special guest, friend of mine, Mark Bell.
Very special.
How's it going, Mark?
Things are going great.
Yeah.
I got my booth here, got the slingshot going, and things are just going fantastic.
Yeah, I went over there to see you, and it was busy. So, I mean, your booth is always busy. And it looks like you guys are having fun, too. So
It's always doing well. You know, the slingshot is something that's really important to me. It's a creative thing that I came up with about 5 or 6 years ago. And to try to get the patent for this thing was a real bitch, the real pain in the ass, as you can imagine. The process of trying to trademark it. I actually have the trademark on slingshot itself, which is kind of cool. And I also have a patent on this bad boy right here, the slingshot.
Yeah, tell everybody about the slingshot. Tell them what it is.
Yeah, the slingshot is a supportive upper body device. You just slide it up over your arms, goes up over both arms, and you're able to bench press with it. You can do bench press, push-ups, dips, that kind of thing. The main intent for it is just to simply relieve some stress from your shoulders while you're bench pressing. I'm somebody who's been hurt. I don't even know how many, I've killed myself in the gym.
Powerlifter.
A million times, and just going into a powerlifting meet one time, I was just thinking, shit, man, I need to do something to be able to survive, to be able to handle this grind, handle this workload, and I started messing around with ideas that were a lot worse than this, but the slingshot spawned from that. Yeah,
so and now run us through quickly the actual process of getting an actual patent, because you own the patent for that.
Yeah, getting the patent was very difficult, but none of that would have been possible without my wife, Andy Bell, who's she handles all the logistics of everything with the business. So I'm the meathead. I'm out there in front of people. I'm the one showing people how to bench press and stuff like that. But she's the one doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And getting the patent was very difficult. Just not to get too detailed about it, but you have to have an idea, a concept that's proprietary. You can't just make a tank top and say it's the Big Ron tank top.
It has to be original, and it has to have a function, right?
Yeah, it has to have a function, and there's all kinds of different things you can patent, but we were able to get hook up with some really good lawyers and able to get the process going, so really proud of that. And like I said, it took a long time, but what I'm most proud of is, and I don't want to bash other trainers and other people, but maybe I do. Maybe I will cut a promo.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, well, I see so many people doing the same thing. Everyone's fighting for the same dollar. And there is a lot of fucking money to be made out there if you just use your mind, use your head. Not everybody has to sell online training or sell a t-shirt with their picture on it or whatever. Use your mind, use your creativity, use the things that you're fucking passionate about, and get your ass out there and start working hard. I didn't have any money as of about 5 years ago. Nothing. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a license. I barely had a job. Never had a real job. And I just decided, one day after my brother Mike passed away, it was a big tragedy to me and my family and stuff. I just said, you know what, man, if I died tomorrow, who would care? And so I got up off my ass and I started trying to make a difference, trying to have an impact in people's lives and just try to move myself forward and do some different things. The slingshot spawned from that. Power Magazine spawned from that. Super Training Gym came about from a lot of that. And a lot of the drive and passion that I have for powerlifting and lifting in the gym all kind of came from that, having a tragedy, having something bad happen, something good ended up coming out of it because I pushed myself that much further.
Well, take me back, about 5 years when Bigger, Stronger, Faster came out.
Right.
And if there's anyone at home wondering why they recognize them, Bigger, Stronger, Faster was a huge event.
Major motion picture.
And it was a big event in this community.
Right.
Because it was, I think a lot of us were waiting for someone to do something like that. And your brother Chris came along and did it.
Right.
And you were obviously one of the stars of the movie. Do you still get people coming up to you and asking you about that, aside from me?
Yeah, I do. People love that film. I was just really happy and excited to be part of it. There's a little bit of a rift between my wife and I, actually, with me being part of it, because she was like, it doesn't make sense for you to talk about this the way you're talking about it. This shit's illegal. You could go to jail for it. And we did our due diligence to kind of make sure that that kind of thing didn't happen. We talked to our attorneys and stuff like that, and they said, hey, it's a fucking movie, so anything goes. But basically,
I think if you just call it a docudrama,
then
it's just like...
not for human consumption.
Yeah.
But, it was important. I just was so sick and tired, and my brother was too. That's why my brother Chris made the film. So sick and tired of hearing these athletes lie about it. You hear these guys say, oh, I thought I took flaxseed oil. My trainer gave me some branched-chain amino acids. It's like, why can't anybody just say the fucking truth? Say, hey, you know what? You caught me in a lie. You know, I'll try to, you know, go a different path. And I understand, you know, like the issues with it here and there with certain leagues or federations like the NFL and MLB and things like that. I get where they're coming from, but to have them be illegal is still asinine in my opinion.
Now
legalize it.
when back in those days, in that movie, how much did you weigh? I mean, you were full-blown powerlifting back then, weren't you?
I like that word, full-blown.
Full-blown powerlifter.
Yeah, I was about, well, in that movie I fluctuated a little bit, but my heaviest body weight was 330 pounds. I had a very swift double chin going. Had some nice tits going too. Those were sexy. My wife loved those. And just kind of had roll on top of roll on top of roll. But, you know, in order to reach some of your maximum potential, you have to go to places that other people aren't willing to go to. I know it sounds funny when you talk about being fat, but in bodybuilding you talk about it in terms of being big. You're like, I don't know how does that guy do it? How is he, you know, you're 320?
Well, 305 right now, but yeah.
Oh, man, you're slimming down. It's
no,
pathetic.
I'm in my beach mode for the Olympia.
But, you know, you're 305.
Got pool parties to go to.
Yeah, that's right. You're 305. You see another guy walking by who's 330. You're like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah.
And in order to be great at anything, whether it's business, life, you name it, you're going to have to take yourself into deep water and do things that other people aren't willing to do.
Now, you're not 330 anymore. You are jacked and tan now.
I am jacked and tan.
That's one of your favorite hashtags on all your stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, you know, Jacked and Tan is a book that I'm working on right now, which will probably take me somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 years because I've never read a book, so it's difficult to write one when you never read one.
Well, if you've never read one, you won't have any misconceptions about what they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
right? You can
exactly.
just write your own.
Exactly, and that's been funny. The whole process has been funny with that. But Jacked and Tan is actually, even though it's something that's fun that we tease about, we kid about, is trying to teach people that you can have it all. Like, I know when you go out and you're trying to have a good time, you're not, you know, of course you're always thinking about your diet. You got to have, shit's got to be dialed in. You do have to be dedicated to what you're doing. You have to live the code basically 24/7. But at the same time, how are you going to have any fun by doing that, by being so strict and so regimented? If you can't have fun, you can't have balance. And Jacked and Tan is about sharing that you can have it all. You can have a piece of cake here and there if you're working your ass off in the gym. You can have a glass of wine or some beer or whatever it is that you enjoy. It's just you're going to have it in some real moderation if you want to be jacked and tan. And also, Jacked and Tan is also the principle of you can be big and strong and look good at the same time.
Right.
The vanity side of it that no one ever talks about, the conversations in my gym are always so funny. I got a couple powerlifters that are well over 300 pounds, and they're like, oh, I don't like wearing those shorts because it cuts into my fat. It's something that you would never think a dude would say, but we're the same as chicks. Vanity is a big thing for us. Every mirror I walk by, every reflection I walk by.
How's the delt separation?
Yeah. And you know, I like to be different because I'm like, everyone does the bicep, I'm going with the tricep. See it?
Right.
Switch it up.
And I'm also impressed, as a power lifter, you've successfully crossed over to the elevator ab selfie.
That's right.
And I was very impressed when I saw the elevator ab selfie.
Yeah, well, those are nice because you can kind of use you could use the shadows of the t-shirt.
Oh, the elevators are good. A few inches back and forward, they're perfect.
Yeah, it's hard to get those selfies though because your hand is shaking because you're trying to flex so hard. It's almost like you're in the middle of taking a shit or something and your hands are trembling. It's just a mess. But again, it's something where you're just trying to strive to get better all the time. And so you do get narcissistic. You do fall in too deep sometimes.
Right.
But like if I walk by a car, I walk by a store, I see a glass window, I see a reflection, I'm going to stop and check it out for a second, you know?
Right. Well, why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of you, how to follow you, how to keep up with Mark Bell?
It's very easy. I'm pretty much all over the place. I'm very accessible at these conventions. The next one that I'll be at will be the Arnold Classic. I also have an Instagram, which is @MarkSmellyBell, same as my Twitter. And I also have an account on the YouTubes, which is youtube.com/supertraining06, where I have the Power Project. I have over 1,000 free videos on there. My gym is free. The videos are free. You have no excuse not to check it out.
And I'm very happy. I haven't actually announced it on the show, but I'm sponsored by Slingshot now.
Hell yeah.
I love those compression bands that you gave
Right.
me. I've had tendonitis here for a long time, and when I wear those, it doesn't pop, it doesn't click when I press.
Yeah, I'm really,
so
really
I'm all over those.
I'm really excited to see more bodybuilders getting into wearing some protective gear. You're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
And when you're in it for the long, you can't afford to be hurt. You can't afford to tear a pec.
And I know some guys that are using a slingshot not for shoulder pain, but for the strength curve effect,
Right.
like using bands or something.
Right,
So
and
I
also
see some guys using them.
You've heard bodybuilders over the years talk about how they feel like they can't use a lot of weight because they can't squeeze. It's hard to get the mind-muscle connection. So rather than using 405, which many of them are capable of doing for sets of 5 or 8, but you might use 315 or 365. The slingshot would allow you to handle more weight, allow you to do a really strict eccentric. We've done a lot of that in our training, and it burns you out like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm looking forward to doing more stuff, trying more stuff with the slingshot. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. I know you're busy and you're in demand, but that's why we want you on. We don't want people on that are in demand, man.
I appreciate it, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to sponsor you.
Yeah, well, thanks. It's Mark Smelly Bell from Super Training TV, inventor of the slingshot.
Salad
Check
bowl
him
hat.
out at the booth. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, man.
Lab Report Live. We'll be back. Big Ron, we're out.